Hey guys, today we're gonna continue chapter 3 and chapter 3 Flash. Okay, let's get started. And if you're one of my friends on Roblox, comment down below and I'll give you a shout out next video. So, and if you're one of my friends at school, Quincy, Kamar, any of the boys any of the boys in the class. And so guys, let's get started and I go to Landmark so you can know. Quincy, Caleb, Kamar, Riley, Julian, me, Max. I am Max. So guys, let's get started. Rocket Royale, Block City Wars, Roblox, YouTube. LOL. A mystery. Chapter 3, A Mystery. Charles looked from Becky to the puppy. Hey, you're right. The puppy had calmed down a little. Now he was sitting alertly in a corner of the stall. Watch was sitting alertly in a corner of the stall, watching Charles and Becky with intelligent eyes. One ear stood up, and the other fell halfway over. He was real cute. Well, we know your name is Flash, Becky said. Well, we know your name is Flash, Becky said, and you're a boy. Hello, Flash, Charles said softly. Flash held up a paw. It was good to hear his name. Maybe these children weren't exactly strangers after all. Maybe he could trust them. I think that's Buddy talking. Down at the other end of the barn, Buddy had started to whine. He didn't like being separated from Charles. It's okay, pal, Charles called. I'll be there soon. He turned to Becky. What should we do? He asked. Becky thought for a minute. Let's not tell anyone else. Let's keep him in here and see if we can solve the mystery of those two people were and why they brought him here. Charles liked that idea. It was exactly the kind of idea that Sammy was his best friend. We only have brought enough puppy food for Buddy, so we'll have to give him people food until we can buy more dog chow. He paused. We get all that stuff out here without anybody noticing. Becky laughed. I bet our dads are both snoozing, one on each couch. Stephanie and Lizzie are probably in the den watching a video, and our moms are sitting by the fire yakking. Charles nodded. You're probably right. And that's how Thanksgiving usually ends up. I bet they've hardly even noticed that we're gone. Just to be safe, Becky said. How about if you go inside and distract them while I find some food in the kitchen? Then we can meet up and come back out here. Okay, Charles agreed. He didn't have a clue about how he would distract everyone, but Becky seemed so sure of herself that he figured it must be a good plan. Maybe he could tell his latest knock-knock joke. That would be perfect. Mom and Dad only heard it about 4 or 5 times so far, on the way to the farm. We'll be back soon. Charles told Flash the dog still wasn't ready to be petted, but he seemed to understand that Charles and Becky were going to help him. He sighed softly as he curled up in the hay. But he was so happy to see Charles again at his leash from the tractor. He licked Charles' hand and made joyful sniffling noises. Good boy, buddy, Charles said. Good boy. When they got out inside the house, Becky and Charles split up. Charles headed for the living room. Sure enough, the scene was exactly as he and Becky and pictured it. Dad was snoring softly on the blue couch, and Uncle Stephen was on the flowered one. Lizzie and Stephanie were in the dining room watching some goopy love movie. Buddy ran right into and jumped up on Lizzie's lap. And when Charles peeked in the door, Mom and Aunt Abigail were sitting by the fire, talking quietly. Their own surprise was the bean was on Aunt Abigail's lap instead of Mom's. Nobody really seemed to need. I'm gonna check on it. Oh, we're almost done with this chapter. Distracting, but Charles had a job to do. He got right to work. Hey, Mom, he said, knock, knock. His mom sighed. Sometimes Charles had a feeling that she was tired of knock, knock jokes. But how could that be? He was always coming up with new ones. It wasn't like he told the same one over and over. Not too many times. Who's there? Aunt Abigail asked. Lena, said Charles. Lena who? Aunt Abigail said gamely. Lean a little closer, and I'll tell you. Charles waited for her to laugh. Instead, Abigail sat up straight and looked toward the kitchen. What's that noise? She asked. Charles heard a clatter. Becky must have knocked something over. Charles gulped. Oh, that's just Becky, he said. She said she was going to get something to eat. He wasn't lying. Becky was getting something to eat. It just wasn't for herself, but he left that part out. How can she be hungry? Mom said, rubbing her belly with a little groan. I'm still stuffed. Charles shrugged. Well, anyway, maybe I'll go out of the room. This job is distracting people made him nervous. Besides, he wanted to get back to the barn to make sure Flash was okay. Oh, by the way, he added casually, looking at Aunt Abigail. Do you know somebody named Murray? Murray? Aunt Abigail rubbed her chin, thinking. Do you mean the bold guy who delivers bread to the store? Maybe, Charles said. He hadn't got a good look at the man in the car. Maybe he was bald. Does he live around here? I have no idea, Aunt Abigail said. Miss Daniels down at the store might know. She gave Charles a curious look. Why do you ask? Charles wasn't sure what to say. Luckily, just then, there was another crash from the kitchen. No reason, really, Charles said, backing out of the room. I'll just help Becky. See ya. That was close-ish, Charles said when he came into the kitchen. Don't ask me what to do again. Becky's arms were loaded up with a blanket, a metal bowl, a gallon jug of water, and a plastic container full of leftover turkey. We're all set. I think, she said. Are they suspicious? Not very, Charles said, looking over his shoulder. But let's get out of here anyway. Flash is probably hungry. He was hungry. The puppy gobbled down their big pieces of turkey in about 3 seconds. Then he looked eagerly up at Charles and Becky, as if to ask for more. At least they had good food at this place, and this little room was cozy enough. Flash didn't like being locked in, but he would find a way out as soon as he had a chance. Maybe then he could get back into his own people. Meanwhile, as long as these children kept bringing him food, he might as well hang out around. By the time Flash was finished up all the turkey, he seemed to consider Charles and Becky, his friends. He nudged their hands with his nose, looking for pats, and even licking Charles' neck cheek. They sat for a few minutes in the corner of the stall, petting the silky puppy, talking about how to solve the mystery. Then it was time to head inside before the grown-ups realized they were missing. Chapter 4. So guys, we're going to continue this chapter right now after I get some water. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, let's get started with chapter 4. Becky set her alarm clock for 6 in the morning so they could get up to feed and walk Flash before anybody else was out of bed. She tiptoed, pulled out couch, and shook him awake. Luckily, Buddy had decided to sleep in Stephanie's room with Stephanie and Lizzie, so he didn't beg to come outside with them. It was still dark. They had slept sleeping pull-out couch him awake. Luckily, Buddy was decided to sleep in Stephanie's room with Stephanie and Lizzie, so he didn't beg to come outside with them. It was still dark when they stepped out the back door. Cold too. Charles' breath came out in a little white puffs, and he pulled his hands up inside his jacket sleeves to keep them warm. Becky and Ace had a flashlight with her, and they used it to light their way to the barn and down the aisle to the stall where Flash was waiting. "Hey, Flash," Charles called softly. "Good morning." "It's us." Flash woke up in a hurry. He was glad to see the boy and girl. They had been nice to him, and they had brought him delicious food. Maybe they had something good this time, too. When they opened the stall door, Flash jumped right up to the trotted over to sniff Becky's hand and let her pet him. "He likes us now," Becky said. "He trusts us," Charles said. "He knows we'll take care of him. Don't you, boy?" He gave Flash's head a little rub. "I bet he'll like this," Becky said, opening the lid of the container. She brought out of the barn some leftover stuffing and mashed potatoes with gravy. Flash wolfed down the food and looked eagerly for more. "We'd better buy him some real puppy food," Charles said. "Somebody's going to notice if we keep taking food from the fridge. Plus, he's a dog." food is better for him than people food. Charles didn't really know why that was Buddy's kibble. Sure, didn't look or smell all that tasty, but Dr. Gibson, their vet, had said that is the best thing for a growing puppy to be eating. Great idea, said Becky. We were going to the store anyway. That was what they had decided the night before. They'd already found out that a man named Murray delivered bread to the store. It seemed like the perfect place to start the detective work. If they could find out who Murray was and where he had gone, then maybe they could track him down. Surely he and his wife didn't mean to abandon Flash at a stranger's farm. Charles had brought Buddy's leash with him. He clipped it onto Flash's collar, and he and Becky took Flash out into the cold, dark yard. The dog pulled eagerly at the leash, dashing this way and that to check out every smell. Come on, Flash, Charles begged. Do your business. The sun was going to come up any minute, and they had to have Flash in the barn before that. Finally, Flash did what Charles wanted him to do. Good boy, Charles said. They took him back into the barn and got him settled into the stall. We'll be back soon, Charles promised, scratching Flash between the ears. Flash leaned against Charles' leg with a contented sigh. Charles hated to leave, but if he and Becky didn't show up for breakfast, their parents would start wondering. When they slipped into the house, Charles heard voices from the bright, warm kitchen. Everybody was up, although Stephanie and Lizzie were still in their PJs. Buddy was padding around the kitchen, sniffing the floor as he checked for food scraps. I'll take Buddy out, Charles volunteered quickly. What if Flash started barking or something? For now, it was better if everyone stayed inside far from the barn. Afterward, Charles sat down at the table and had a big piece of apple pie, just like Dad and Uncle Stephen. Pie for breakfast was a special Peterson family Thanksgiving tradition. Dessert for breakfast. Charles wished all family traditions were that cool. When he was done, he looked over at Becky, ready. He mouthed. She nodded. Mom, we're going for a walk, Becky said. Just to the store. Why, brother? Stephanie asked, making a face. That's nothing there but fly swatter and an old can of beans. Steph, come on, said Aunt Abigail. That store is full of lovely things, including my baked goods, if I do say so I myself. Yeah, said Lizzie. I love the penny candy they sell. That store's not bad. Easy for you to say, said Stephanie grumpily. You can't get to live in the place where there are normal stores and malls and everything. Well, we're going anyway, Becky said. What's your hurry? Lizzie gave Charles a suspicious look. He knew it. It was nearly impossible to hide anything from nosy Lizzie. No hurry, Charles shrugged. He just feel like going for a walk. Bundle up, said Mom, looking at Charles. She was busy reading the paper. She ate some leftover berry crumble. It was only a 10-minute walk to the store, just long enough for Becky and Charles to figure out a good plan for what to do when they got there. They had a few clues to their mystery, and they needed to find out more. Charles breathed in a deep, happy sniff when he and Becky walked in, jingling the bell on the door. The store had squeaky wooden floors, and it smelled like chocolate and fresh bread and furniture polish, which turned out to be a really good combination. They guys, I don't know this word. They approached the woman at the cash registers. Hi, Miss Danielle, said Becky, remembering Charles. Sure, said Miss Daniels. Mr. Knock Knock joke, right? Charles nodded. Perfect. This fits right in with the plan. He had Becky and made Knock Knock. He said this was part of one of the plan. Who's there? Asked Mr. Daniels with a smile. Murray, said Charles. Murray who? Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Charles couldn't help laughing at his own joke. Mrs. Daniels chuckled too. That's a good one, she said. Speaking of Murray, Becky said, taking over. Which part with part 2 of the plan? Isn't Murray your bread delivery man? Charles slipped away to look over the dog food choices while Becky asked Miss Daniels some questions. Murray, Charles heard the store owner say. You know, he hasn't been around for a couple days. We've had to substitute driver delivering our bread. No, I don't know Murray's last name or where he lives. Sorry. Well, that was a dead end, Becky said. As they left the store, at least we got something for Flash to eat. Charles pointed out he was carrying a bag of puppy chow. It had almost cost of 2 weeks' allowance. Let's go visit him and figure out what to do next, Charles said as they turned up the long driveway that led to the farm. He was so excited to see Flash. He didn't notice Lizzie watching from the living room window as they walked past the house. Chapter 5. So guys, that's the end of this chapter. Hope you enjoyed those 2 chapters, 3 and 4. And guys, we're going to continue chapter 5 at which hour? I don't know. At 11, I guess, in the morning. So guys, hope you enjoy. Bye!